Do you struggle to express your opinions confidently in English? Do you worry that you don't know the right things to say for certain types of situation? Whether you're in a debate, a work meeting, or just chatting with friends, the right phrases can make all the difference. So in this video, I will give you 30 essential phrases that you can use to express your thoughts clearly and fluently. We have 4 categories of phrases for different types of situation. So let's get started with the first category, which is casual phrases for informal conversations. These phrases are commonly used in everyday conversations with friends, family, or people you're comfortable with. First up, we have I guess. It's like saying I think or I suppose. For example, I guess we could go to the cinema next weekend instead. Next, I feel like, a casual way to express your feelings towards something. For example, I feel like we should save our money and stay in tonight. To be honest, this is a very common phrase that's used all the time in casual conversation. For example, to be honest, I didn't really enjoy the party last night. If you ask me, another casual phrase, giving your opinion. Well, if you ask me, it's better to take the day off work if you're feeling sick. Personally, I think. Personally is another really common word that's used in casual conversations. It can sometimes be used in more formal conversations as well. So this one could be both. For example, personally, I think the first dress looked better on you. I'd say, another casual way of saying what you think. I'd say we should meet at 7 instead of 6. And the final one for this category, a really common word, I reckon. It's just another way of saying I think, but it's more casual and informal. For example, I reckon you should call your sister and apologize. Moving on to the next category, which is polite phrases for formal situations. These are ideal for professional or formal situations where you want to sound respectful and polite when giving your opinion. The first one is I believe. For example, I believe this strategy will help improve our overall efficiency. So I believe, a more formal way of saying I think. From my point of view, the proposal needs more research before we can proceed. It seems to me, this is quite a soft way of giving your opinion. For example, it seems to me that we should reconsider the timeline for this project. Next, as far as I'm concerned, a really useful phrase for professional and formal situations. It also gives your opinion in quite a strong but still polite way. As far as I'm concerned, the current plan addresses all key issues. In my experience, for example, in my experience, a collaborative approach tends to produce the best results. I would argue that, again, a bit more of a strong way of giving your opinion, but it is still respectful and polite. I would argue that investing in employee training is crucial for long-term growth. Another very common one, in my opinion. In my opinion, the client's feedback should be prioritized. And the last one in this category, from where I stand. This is like saying from my point of view or from my perspective. For example, from where I stand, the decision to expand into new markets is a positive step. If you're enjoying this video and you're finding these phrases useful, please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I've got lots more videos just like this with useful phrases to use in daily conversation. Now let's get back to the video with our next category. Diplomatic phrases or phrases to soften your opinion. These are perfect when you want to express that you disagree with someone, but you don't want to be too forceful and you still want to be polite. The first one, I'm not sure I agree. This is much more polite than simply saying, I disagree. It's softened. I'm not sure I agree. For example, I'm not sure I agree with your assessment of the situation. I see your point, but this is good for acknowledging someone's idea, but then giving an opposing one. I see your point, but I think there are other factors we need to consider. That's a valid point, but again, when you want to acknowledge what someone said, but then disagree or give an alternative point of view. That's a valid point, but we also need to think about the long-term impact. Next, I understand where you're coming from, but again, we're acknowledging someone's idea. We're even saying that we understand their point, but we are going to give a conflicting point of view. I understand where you're coming from, but we should review the budget before making a decision. Another similar one, you have a point, but I feel, for example, you have a point, but I feel we should explore alternative solutions first. A phrase we can use when we sort of agree with someone, but we also want to give an alternative idea. I partly agree with you, but. For example, I partly agree with you, but I think we need to look at the numbers more closely. The next phrase you can use when you simply want to disagree with someone, but you want it to be respectful. I don't completely agree with that. For example, I don't completely agree with that suggestion as it might be risky in the current market. And finally, when you want to acknowledge what someone said but add a further point to the argument, I can see that, but I'd also like to add. For example, I can see that, but I'd also like to add that customer satisfaction is a key priority. Moving on to our final category, which is strong opinion phrases. These phrases can be used when you want to express a very strong or firm belief that you have about something. These would be great if you're in a debate situation, but could also be used in a professional setting or even in casual conversation if you're discussing some kind of issue with friends. Here's the first one. I'm convinced that. For example, I'm convinced that this strategy will lead to significant growth. This phrase shows that you have a very strong conviction in your idea. You're convinced, meaning you're very, very sure. I'm certain that. Another phrase with the same meaning, you're very sure about something. For example, I'm certain that the team will deliver the project on time. I have no doubt that. I have no doubt that our product will be successful in the market. Another similar one, I'm absolutely sure that. I'm absolutely sure that investing in new technology will benefit the company. It's clear to me that. It's clear to me that we need to improve our customer service approach. This phrase can be used when you're using the evidence around you to come to a decision about something that you feel very sure about. It's clear to me that. I strongly feel that. By adding the word strongly in front of feel, it emphasizes your very strong opinion about something. I strongly feel that reducing the working week would improve productivity. Another similar one, I'm positive that, meaning I'm really sure or I'm certain. I'm positive that this partnership will be mutually beneficial for both parties. And our final phrase, there's no question that. Again, meaning that you are very, very sure about something. There's no question that we need to increase our marketing efforts. So now you have all the phrases you need to give your opinion in different situations. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to continue by learning more useful phrases to use in everyday conversation, I recommend that you check out this video next.